Hello, chess friends, and welcome to Jozarov Chess Channel, and welcome back to the Julius Baer Generations Cup in 2023 that's going on now on chess.com. We have here the spectacular derby in the finals. We have the spectacular match between Magnus Carlsen and Alireza Firouzja. I think this is a match that everyone is waiting for. We have seen so many beautiful and epic matches between the two of them, and now they're meeting again in a beautiful, beautiful and spectacular match. You know the grip. They have to play 4 rapid games. The tempo of the games is 15 minutes on the clock plus 3 seconds increment per move. Let's start now with the game one. The game one was already a spectacular one. It finished a couple minutes ago. Let's see now what happened in the beautiful finals between Magnus Carlsen and Alireza Firouzja. So with the white pieces, Magnus opened with the move e4. We have now the move c5 by Alireza. Knight to f3, d6, d4, c takes d, knight takes d, and after knight to f6, knight to c3, we have now the knight of Sicilian here by Alireza Firouzja. And now comes already surprise element here by Magnus Carlsen. Magnus goes for the so-called freak attack with the move rook to g1. It's a rare line, but not, I think, a mistake or something. It's not an inaccurate line. It's just, I think, a more aggressive line which leads into a really unbalanced position. And the idea, I think, is clear. We want to play g4, g5, simply deflect this key defender of the king, the knight on f6 somewhere from the defense, because usually in the Sicilian, black castles king side, white is castling the queens on the queen side, and then of course you want to be fast on your attack. So Magnus is already saying, show me what you got, show me if you're really ready to castle on the king side, because I'm already attacking you here. So that's why I think a beautiful attacking method, this beautiful freak attack. So as I said, it's not so often. Usually you play something like f3, the English attack or something against the knight, but now I think the move rook to g1 does the same. We're preparing simply the move g4. So now Alireza, in my opinion, plays also a slightly, I don't know, rare line. Usually you're trying to be also active on the queen side, because as I said, white is preparing the attack on the king side. You should at least attack the queen side immediately with the move b5. Now after g4, that maybe white could continue there. Then you play bishop to b7, and I think black is solid here. Black can defend this position easily. After something like a3, then I think we can go for the e4 pawn, knight to e4, knight to e4, and then bishop to e4. Still, you haven't solved all of the positional problems, but I think it's a decent method to beat the freak attack from black's perspective. But Alireza goes into this passive method. He's playing now the move h5. He's of course stopping the further progress of g4 by Magnus Carlsen, but Magnus is saying, okay, you have weakened now the structure. I'm attacking you now. I'm attacking your the knight. The knight is of course connected to the pawn on h5, and I'm threatening already bishop to f6. Then after g takes f6 or e takes f6, the pawn structure would be already messed up. Good positional move here by Magnus, because with the move h5 you have already weakened your pawn structure. Now Magnus is threatening really to go positionally into the game, and Alireza has to now react with this way, knight to d7. But now after move bishop to c4, notice always there are some tactics around the square d5, e6 in some lines, of course not immediately, but always pay good attention. Bishop to f7 is, for instance, always a tactical motif in this type of position, then followed with knight to e6. So far, as I said, it's not possible, but always be careful when you have this passive setup with the knight on d7, and when you're standing in the way of your own bishop, then always watch out for tactics. And I think already a messed up position here for Alireza, because after g6 that he played, this was now, I think, even his crucial mistake in the opening stage. He's playing in sort of a dragon Sicilian way. He's trying now to play the fianchetto with the move bishop to g7, but now after move queen to d2 and bishop to g7, I think it's not the same position here like in the dragon Sicilian, because in the dragon Sicilian, from black's perspective, you have at least the knight already here on c6, and then you're trying to attack, I don't know, knight to a5, and then you hit the bishop on c4. It's, I think, a more aggressive method. At least black is creating also control play on the queen side. With this really passive setup of the knight on d7, knight to f6, okay, you're playing in sort of a dragon Sicilian style, but it's really too passive in my opinion. So the knight is never useful here in the attack. So it's a different story from this point on. I think the game is already becoming a one-way ticket in white's favor. Really wild stuff. So queen to c7, we have a bishop to b3, retreating here by Magnus. b5, this move comes a little bit too late, because Magnus is sensing some blood here. He's saying, you stay now too long with your king in the center. Where are you going to go with your king? And now Alireza Carlsen, and already it's a messed up game, because here Magnus Carlsen could have, I think, already won a pawn because he could have played here a beautiful move, knight to d5. Knight to d5 would be already messed up position for Alireza Firouzja, because after knight takes d5 we have this resource, bishop to d5. You have to step back with the rook, and now your pawn on e7 is hanging. So see how weak really Alireza's position here. So something went wrong in this preparation, in this opening sequence, but Magnus went for another also solid line, f4. It's not a mistake or something that Magnus Carlsen played, but I think the move knight to d5 was more direct, simply hitting the center immediately and creating tactical damage in black's position. Okay, here Alireza fights back with the move knight to c5. Magnus plays a beautiful move, bishop to f6. Really must move here by Magnus, because after bishop to f6 that Alireza did not play, then Magnus would probably immediately hit the center with knight to d5 again. It's a messed up game. We'll simply take out here the bishop. The structure would be weak. You have a weakness on d6, so it's game over, I think. Then positionally game over. I'm not saying the game is really over, but in top GM level this would be an easy play here for Magnus Carlsen. So after move bishop to f6 we have e takes f6, and now another beautiful follow-up here by Magnus, f5, locking simply the bishop on g7 out of the game. We have king to h7 with also the threat to play bishop to h6, trapping the queen, but Magnus gets out of this mess, plays king to b1, bishop to b7, and now another beautiful move here by Magnus, knight to d5, simply occupying the main weakness in the position, the weak d5 square. Alireza fights back with knight takes b3. We have a takes b3, bishop to d5, but again a beautiful intermediate attack here by Magnus. Beautiful move, necessary move, because after f takes g6 now and after e takes d5, Magnus has the beautiful opportunity to occupy the e6 weakness, and there's nothing that you can do against this move. The knight is becoming now the best piece on the board. It's, as I said, strategically a simply lost game here for Alireza Firouzja. So rook to e8, Magnus gets the fork here. Alireza drops back. Of course, you don't want to give up such a powerful knight for such a bad piece here on g7. Good strategy now to keep the knight on the board, of course, here by Magnus. g4, h takes g4. Magnus is trying simply to open the position somehow against black's king, although he sacrificed now a pawn. The issue here for Alireza is that he cannot play f5 because of the fork on g5. So that's why after move rook to e4 here, first bishop to h6 was played by Alireza, but now beautiful move here by Magnus, queen to f2. After move f5 that Alireza played, now he has this resource, rook to g4. Look how Magnus sends some tactical possibilities on the f-file. The queen dropped back here to a7, and now Magnus plays another beautiful move. Rook to d4 is not allowing here Alireza Firouzja to simplify the game by trading off the queens. We have now the move a5, but Black's attack is simply too slow. White is already here, as I said, in this opposite side attack games where white is attacking one side, black is attacking the other side. You have to watch out if you are really fast enough in the attack, and I think white is much faster. Look at queen to h4. Again, Alireza is forced to get the pieces back. Magnus stays with his active play on the h-file. Here we have queen to f6, and now Magnus puts more pressure against the bishop on h6. Here Alireza is forced to play the move g5. We have rook to h5, and now the only defensive move here by Alireza Firouzja, he plays now the move g4 in order to kick away the queen from h3 from this active square. So after move g4, Magnus went, of course, with queen to d3, putting more pressure against the pawn on f5. Alireza gets closer to the action, but it's not working. Magnus played a brilliant move, rook to f1, simply putting more pressure against the pawn on f5. What to do? Alireza accepted the challenge, said, okay, maybe I get two rooks now for the queen, but this is not a position where the rooks are important here, because the endangered king is, of course, the main problem, of course, of blacks here. It's not like the rooks can come somehow into the game. So Alireza is completely lost here. Magnus Carlsen really destroyed his position. After a couple more moves, we have king to h4. The king has to drop back, and now after a couple of checks here by Magnus Carlsen, again a beautiful move, h3, simply trying, of course, to open the position in front of black's king. After move rook to g8 here, Alireza simply got challenged this way, h takes g4, rook to g4, a new check by Magnus Carlsen. He simply takes out now also the pawn on d6. We have now the move a4, queen to e5, delivering a check, and after a couple of checks, Magnus Carlsen found this resource. He simply pushed the pawn further, which is, of course, a good choice. This is a passer. He has to be, of course, pushed further, and of course, it has a clear path, and the cool part, it's, of course, supported also by the knight on e6. So we have here rook to a7, d7. Magnus delivers a check and has now this resource d7. We have a new check by Alireza Firouzja, but after move king to a2 in this particular position, Alireza Firouzja resigned, because even if you take a takes b3, then king takes b3 is of course winning the game. There's nothing that can stop this pawn. You can maybe sack the rook for the pawn, but still it's of course game over here for black. So incredible game by Magnus Carlsen. I think he shocked here a little bit Alireza Firouzja with his freak attack against the Knight of Sicilian, but nothing is lost. Alireza has still 3 games. Alireza played brilliantly yesterday also in his matches, so he has, I think, great chances to get somehow back, because Alireza is in top shape, but I think he missed somehow his opening prep against this annoying freak attack in the Knight of Sicilian. So okay, I hope that you enjoyed this game. I really enjoyed it a lot. Interesting ideas of the Knight of Sicilian for sure. If you want to see more games from this epic chess event, check out our coverage so far. Here are some links of some games that we have analyzed before, and if you like this content, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. See you soon with some more videos, and what do we say? Chess is the best, of course.